Andy Ruiz, obviously highly tipped, sources confirmed as well. But as we stand here today, which is at what time?
10
o'clock, Vegas time, so about 6 o'clock. You're waiting for the contract back
to be signed. Yeah. So we've basically got a final contract. So he's due to sign that contract in the next couple of hours. Then we'll release. The timing of this interview will be dependent on that release, because we're talking now as if it's signed. And yeah, I'm happy to get it done. It's been a nightmare 10 days. I've had to make some decisions myself, like almost personal decisions. You know, when you've got a guy who will fight anyone, it's almost up to me to go out then and then say, okay, so who's real? So we quickly found out Luis Ortiz was a waste of time. We quickly found out that other people were a waste of time. We quickly found out that others weren't really ready but would take it for the money. We quickly found out others that I didn't personally feel were good enough to be in the ring that night. And speaking to people personally and individually, I found a guy who has a ton of spunk, who has very fast hands, who has operated at a high level, who arguably should already be world champion. And although aesthetically he may not be the best looking heavyweight in the world, I believe in terms of the fighters that are genuinely available, this is the one that will give AJ the toughest test, and this is the one that will give us the most entertaining fight. And that was important for me, because there was others that, you know, listen, we can talk about it now. I mean, Don King's been blowing up my phone for 10 days.
Trevor Bryan.
Yeah, and Trevor Bryan is a big, quite an athletic heavyweight. Looks much better on the scales than Andy Ruiz. And I know BoxRec's not like the be all and end all, but it gives you a good idea of where people are at in terms of the opposition they've faced, etc. And Bryan was 12th, the ranked 12th best heavyweight in America. And he was behind people like Eric Molina, you know, Dominic Brazil, like guys who AJ's beaten already. So I had to make a decision that maybe Trevor Bryan to the casual fan was an easier sell than Andy Ruiz, because they'll look at Andy Ruiz and say, well, he ain't in the best of shape. But in the boxing community, and I have to follow my, it was a bit cheesy, but follow my heart in that respect and say, Ed, which one do you know will be a much, much better fight? And when you speak to people in boxing, they all say Joshua Ruiz will be an absolute war. And we don't know how long it's going to last, but we know Ruiz will give it everything. He will let his hands go. He's dangerous, he's explosive, he's fast. And you know, that's the guy that we picked.
If you had theoretically a hit list of 6, where was Ruiz kind of when it was
at the start? 2 or 3.
After who? Ortiz?
Ortiz was always the first
who would
shot.
you have had instead of Ruiz if you could have had?
Probably no. I mean, I think all the feedback I'm getting from the boxing community is this is a much tougher fight than Jarrell Miller, because it's similar in many respects, but Ruiz has much faster hands and he's better on the inside. So really it was Ortiz, Ruiz, Hunter, and then we talk about the other guys, Kayabel, Bryan, Char. You know, Hunter was well in it for a while. I just didn't feel that fight would have been that great a fight. Hunter's a brilliant fighter, but I just think coming up to heavyweight, he's going to move a lot, and I want a guy who's going to come and have a tear up. He's going to come and light up Madison Square Garden on June 1. And of course, Andy Ruiz does have the added carrot of he would become Mexico's first ever world champion if he could win this. He's got a big Hispanic following. Obviously, there's a big Hispanic community in New York. Obviously, we have many, many Hispanic subscribers with DAZN through the Canelo deal. So everything sort of aligned towards that. And when I spoke to Andy Ruiz, I found a guy that was, yeah, of course everyone wants a good deal, but I just found a guy that was desperate for the shot because he thought he could win. And I know how much it means to him fighting for the world heavyweight title, and that was important because I spoke to so many people who's like, oh, well, make it this much. No, make it this much. No, all right. And then just they're messing around. And we haven't got time to mess around. And he was a genuine guy who wants to fight. And he's going to bring it. He's going to bring it. He's coming straight off a fight on Fox last weekend. Yeah, last weekend against Dimitrenko. So he's ready to go, and he's already in camp. He was coming straight off the back of a 10-week, 12-week camp, so he's fit, he's ready, and he's going to give it everything, and it'll be a war.